Hello everyone, this is Starry Ari's ASMR. I am Ari, and today I would like to do my daily puzzles on my puzzle page app. And today is Friday, April 11th, and the puzzle page app does have a little event going on right now where you can collect pieces if you do certain types of puzzles. I'm not really going to worry about that today. I'm just going to do my daily puzzle page. So today we have Sudoku, we have a word search, this missing letters fill in the blank, Futoshiki, Wordy, which is like Wordle, picture cross, crossword, cross sum, challenger, which is I think just another version of crossword, and bridges. So I think I want to just dive right in. Let's go ahead and start with Sudoku. And I usually just do the standard. So this one is just a 6 by 6 Sudoku, so not really too difficult. So let's start with the ones here. So right off the bat, I see that I can place a 1 down here in this box because this 1 sees this little cell here, so it can't go there. And then this one sees these cells here, so 1 can't go there, which means that we are just left with that square. Let's paste the 1 there. And then I have a few boxes that I can pencil mark the 1s. So this box here, for example, these ones are blocked. This one is blocked with that one. So these 2 have to contain the 1, or the 1 has to go in one of those 2. And this box here, these ones are blocked, these are blocked, so the 1 has to go in these 2. And then up here, these 2 cells are blocked by this one, so we know that the 1 has to go in one of these 2 cells. Okay. So we've got the 1s at least placed as much as we can. Let's go ahead and move on to the 2s. So I see that we can place a 2 up here in this box. So this 2 here sees these cells, and this 2 here sees these cells, which means that the only cell available for a 2 is this one here. And we just got rid of one of our possible 1 cells, which means that the 1 for this box has to go in this cell. So let's place the 1 there, and because we placed the 1 here, we know that in this box over here, the 1 has to go up in that box. And then same thing down here, because we just crossed out that 1, we know the 1 has to go in this cell over here. Maybe. Okay, and let's get back to the 2s. So now that we've placed the 2 in this box, I see that we can now place a 2 in this one, because this 2 sees these cells and this 2 sees this cell. So this is the only cell available for a 2. And I can place a 2 in this box down here. This 2 sees these cells, this 2 sees those cells. So the 2 has to go in this bottom corner. And then now we can place the final 2 in this box. This 2 sees these cells, this 2 sees these. So the 2 has to go in this corner. Okay. So we've got the 2s, and then now I see that we don't actually have any 3s placed on the board just yet. So I think that we will come back around to 3s when we have a few more things placed. So let's now take a look 4 has to go there. And then because that sees this line here, 4 has to go here. And then for this box down here, this one is blocked, this one is blocked. So the 4 has to go there. And then up here in the last box, this cell is blocked by that 4, this cell is blocked by that 4. So the 4 has to go in that box. So we've now placed everything for all of the 4s. And going back to 3s, I see now that we have this line that only has 1 cell left, and we know that that has to be a 3. So let's go and place the 3 there. And then we can now do pencil markings for the 3 at least in these 2 boxes. Well, we could do it in these also because they only have 2 left. But I think because we're getting down to it, I'm just going to leave the pencil markings off for now and we'll just keep moving forward. So let's move on to the 5. I see that I can place the 5 in this box here. And I can place the 5 in this box. And right here for this box. Let's move on to 6. I see I can place it here. And here. Here. There. And the last 6 there. And then now all of these cells remaining have to be 3s. There we go. So that was our first puzzle complete. And I'm on level 92 for Sudoku. I've done a lot of these puzzles. So let's collect our coins. You see I have quite a lot of coins and tokens up here. And let's solve this missing letters puzzle. These are usually pretty quick. So extrovert on point of leaving. I think that means outgoing. There we go. It was. Okay. And let's just move right down the line and do this word search here. Okay, so these are UK football teams. So I'm probably going to butcher some of these names, but let's go ahead and get started. So let's start with finding Fulham. Not sure. And Arsenal. That only sounds familiar to me because of the IT crowd. I don't know if you've seen the IT crowd. I love that show. Let's see. I'm looking for Chelsea now. Here's Chelsea. Let's look for Everton. And I see it right up here. Everton. And Wrexham. See that over here. Burnley. I saw that up here. And Sheffield. See that. Oh, I think that's right here. Sheffield. And Liverpool. I see that here. Brentford. Let's see, I think that's right here. Aston Villa. Let's see. Oh, right here on this line. And then Southampton. See that over here. There we go. That one was pretty quick and easy. And we earned 50 coins for that. Let's collect those. And let's keep going down this line. Let's do the Futoshiki. So I think I explained this in my first video where I did the puzzle pages. This is kind of like, I mean, in my mind, I think of it like Sudoku, except like all of these lines are in play and the only information you have is whether this number fitting the greater or less than sign. So like in this one, right off the bat, I know that this number has to be a 1 because the only numbers lower than a 3 are a 1 and a 2, but we already have a 2 in this row. So I know that that one has to be a 1. And I usually just kind of wing it with these. I don't normally have too much of a strategy going in. I just kind of see whatever looks easiest for me right off the bat. And I know that I can actually place the 6 in this column because there's nothing greater than the 6. So the 6 can't go in a cell that sees this little less than sign because there's nothing that I could put in the cell here. So I know the 6 can't go there, can't go there because of that sign, can't go there because of these signs, so I know the 6 has to go there. Now, let's see. And you can also kind of do that same logic with a 1. So I don't see any that I can actually place on 1, but I can place pencil markings. So in this column here, the 1 can't go anywhere on this side of a greater than sign or a less than sign because there's nothing that is less than a 1, so we wouldn't be able to fill anything there. So the 1 can't go in any of these, but it could potentially go in these 2 cells. And let's see. I usually don't like to put in pencil markings for anything that has more than 2 possibilities. So for example, this line up here, the 1s could go in this box here, this box which we've already pencil marked, or this one here. And since that's 3, I feel like, if I get stuck, I'll come back and do that. But usually I don't like to do it unless it's just 2. So I can place pencil markings in this row here for the 1 because this one can't go there because of the greater than symbol right here. And there's nothing less than a 1, can't go there because this 1 is already here in that column. Can't go there, so I know that the 1 has to go right there. Okay. And let's see. I'm gonna get a little bit convoluted with here. So this is kind of a chain of 3, and I usually like to kind of work this out for myself. So I know that the highest number that can go here is a 5 because we already have a 6 in this row. And so if the 5 was here, it would be a 4, and then there can't be a 3 here, so that would be a 2 or a 1. And because the 3 is there, the only other low number that could go here would be a 2. So this could be a 1, that could be a 2 or a 4, and this could be a 4 or a 5. Now that was kind of a weird backwards way to do it, but for some reason it makes sense in my brain. We have a similar chain here, except the lowest number that can go there is a 2, and a 4 can't go here. So we already have a 1 and a 3 in this column, so there's a possibility of a 2, and I know that a 4 can't go here because we need 3 numbers that are greater than a 4, and we only have 2 with our 5 and a 6. So right now I know that this cell has to be a 2. And then these ones I'm going to pencil mark in because it could be either a 4 or 5, and that means these cells could either be a 5 or 6. I feel like I'm usually kind of a little slow with these. let's pencil mark in the possibilities for these here. So this one, because there's a 3 in this column, the only options are a 4 and a 5. And in this box, the options are a 5 and a 6. And then this one could be a 3, 4, 5, or 6. So anything larger than a 2. We don't have anything blocked out from this column. So I think I'm just going to leave that one blank because that doesn't really feel very helpful for me to fill in the pencil markings. Oh, but actually, because we have these two cells here that have to either be a 5 or a 6, which means if this cell was a 5, this cell has to be a 6, and vice versa. We know that there can't be a 5 or a 6 in any of these cells. So that does actually help us because that means that this cell can only be a 3 or a 4. And I can pencil mark in one more 3 for this column. I can pencil in that as a 3 potentially. Okay, so down here I can pencil mark in the 3s. So 3 can't go in these cells and it can't go in this cell because it sees that 3. So there we go. And then I think, because I'm kind of getting a little bit stuck, I am going to start filling in the pencil markings for more cells that have more than just 2. So up here, the ones can go here, here, or here. And the 2s can go here, 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 or here. Maybe I'm going to pause it and fill in all of the pencil marks and then we'll come back. Okay, so I filled in all of the pencil marks, which has been helpful because I noticed something that I already knew but I didn't catch. So this cell can only be a 1 because the highest possibility for the cell is a 4, which means 1, 2, or 3 are the possibilities here. And this cell already sees the 2 and it already sees the 3, so let's put the 1 there. Now let's see all of our 2s. Okay. Not really seeing anything with the 2s, except I know that this one can't be a 2 because there's nothing. The 1 can't go here because the 1's already in this row. So let's remove that from the pencil marking. Okay. Take a look at our 2s more. I don't think I can really do anything with the rest of the 2s yet. Let's look at the 3s. I also don't see anything with the 3s yet. I'm probably missing a ton of stuff, but I'll eventually get to it. Let's look at the 4s. I don't think that I see anything for the 4s either. It's a bummer. Let's take a look at the 5. Nothing there. Let's see the 6s. Okay. I think that I'm missing something. Let's see these ones again. This column has 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and this one. Oh, I'm being silly. So the cell, we already did this logic for this one here. So the 5 and the 6 pair there means that there can't be a 5 or a 6 in this row anywhere else. That means this has to be the 4. That has to be a 2. This has to be a 5. And this has to be a 6. And then now quite a lot of single digits have popped up. So I'm just going to walk my way through filling those in. I feel like this one, once it kind of breaks open, it goes really quickly, but sometimes it takes me a while just to see something that I've missed. See, this one is filling in pretty quickly now. Last 2. There we go. I do like Futoshiki. I think that one's fun. It's like the right amount of challenging for me. Let's collect our coins. And let's jump right into a Wordy or Wordle. And I'm going to start with my usual keyword, which is steam. Ooh, and we got quite a few letters, so we know that the S has to go there. We have an M and an E, but they don't go in those places. So let's see. And then we know that it doesn't have an A or a T. So I'm thinking it could be maybe something like smoke, because that moves the M and the E from their locations. Okay, so it's not smoke, but we did place the M and the E. So now it gets a little tricky of just kind of figuring out what exactly it could be. So I'm thinking, logically it makes sense to me that this would be an I, and then maybe an L for smile. There we go. We found that one in 3 attempts. Let's collect our coins, and let's move into picture cross. And this picture cross isn't color, so there are some picture crosses where it's like each number is a color and it tells you kind of how many of that color are in the row, but this one isn't that, so pretty straightforward. And it is a 12 by 12. I don't see any rows or columns with a 12, because if we did, I would just immediately fill those in. But I do see one with a 7, and so I know that for the 7, I can count in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if the 7 happened to start all the way over here, that's as far as it would get. And you can only do that when the row or the column is less than double what that number is, because if it was exactly double, you wouldn't really be able to place it. It would just be on either end, so you wouldn't exactly know. But this one, if it happened to be all the way over here on the end, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. And so now in these rows, I know that at the end there are these 1s, so there is nothing that attaches to these. So we can separate that. And then here, I can't place anything for the 2, but I know that if the 2 was as far over as it could be, there isn't enough space on the side for the 5. So I know that the 5 has to go over here, and there are only 5 squares available. So now I'm looking at this column. I can do a 5 here, so counting up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and doing that with 4 at the bottom, 4 at the bottom, and then I'm not entirely sure that these are the ones, because it could end here, like this could be a 1 and a 2, an X here, and then a 1, so I can't really do anything with those just yet. But I can actually connect these for the 5 on the end of that. And then now I know that in this column here, this is a 2, so that has to be an X in between for the 1 to go there. And I know there are only 1s in this row, so there are X's on either side of that. And since we've placed an X here, we can do our counting up again for the 4, so it would be 1, 2, 3, 4 there. And we filled in a 2 there, so I'm going to put X's on either side, and then we know that the second 2 can only fit there. And then let's count in for the 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we can fill in these in between. And let's see, I can cross these out because this row only has the 1, 7, so there's nothing there. And then I can count up for the 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And then let me do an X for that. And let me count in this way for the 3, 1, 2, 3. And we can recount for the 7 since these are blocked now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And fill those in. And we can fill in some X's for these 1s. Now let's see where we're at. So I've done a 1, 2, and then I know that this next one is a 2 in the row, or in the column. So let's do the 2, and then we'll put an X there. And then this one I'm not sure whether it's going to be a 2 or just end here with the 1, so we're going to leave that as is. And then in this column I know that this one has to be an X because there's not enough space for the 5, which means that this one has to fill in for the 5 here. And then now we can fill in the 6, do the 1 for that column, let's do the X there, and count in for the 2, so 1, 2, and then coming down it's the same square. So let's cross that out, and now I can fill in a 2 here, and leave an X there, and I can put an X there for this 1. And I think for the 5 going down this way, let's count that out again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I can put X here, which means we can fill these cells in, and then once the conditions for a row or a column are met, it lights up blue, and then you can just tap it and it'll fill in the rest with the X's for you so that you're not having to go through the time to do it. So that's pretty convenient. And let's fill in these 2 here now. Let's see. Okay, so we know that this one has to be the 1 because it can't connect. We don't have a 3 in this row, so those have to be separated. So that's a 1. That has to be the 2. And then we don't have anything under the 1, so that has to be crossed out. And then down here we only have these 2 options for this one, so we can't quite place it. But I can put an X here for this 3, and then let's count in 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then now we've filled in that one. Let's put the X for this 2. We can fill in the 3 here, and count in for the 2, 1, 2, and that gives us the end for this 5. So now we can count 5 up. 3, 4, 5. Let's do that. And then because these rows I know only have one number and we already have some placed, I know that there is nothing in these cells. Oops, I accidentally crossed that one. And there are only 4 open cells in this row, and that clears that one. Okay, let me put an X for this one here. And I can fill in X's for this 2, which means I can fill in that 3. I can fill in 1 for the 2. Fill in that for the 2. And now that is blocked off, which means we just have one spot there. And that is a 2. Let's do the X and the 2 up here. And then fill in that row. Now we can fill in a 3 there and a 3 here. And I can fill in the 3 there, which clears out these rows. And we're just left with that one cell. And I can't quite tell what the picture is. Oh, it's a Bakewell tart. Okay, yeah, I see it. I didn't see it at first. Alright, that one was fun. I do like the picture crosses. I also like the ones with the color because it just adds an extra element of challenge because you don't always have a guarantee of where an X is going to be placed. So let's collect our coins and move on to the next one. Ooh, we got a bonus. So usually like this wheel fills up as you're working on puzzles, and then you get these little bonuses, which I don't really use actually very much at all. Okay, so we did our picture cross. Maybe let's go into the crossword next, just because it's the next largest one. So let's start with the 1 here. So ball used in ice hockey. I believe that is a puck. And let's go on to the 2, which is a pretty long word. And it's just one word. It's 11 letters. Misconduct or gaffe. I wonder if it's impropriety. Okay. Let's do 3. In addition. It could be and. Okay, let's do 4. A small spiny fish. Oh no, I do not know my fish. Small spiny fish. I think I'm gonna have to come back to that. I'm not too sure right away. Not all of. I think it might be most. Oh no. Not all of. Oh, and I'm not too sure either. We'll come back to that. Let's go ahead and move on to 6, going this way. This is the peak or end point. Let's see. And this one is just one word. Lots of long words in this one. And that is 11 letters. Oh, I think maybe culmination. Okay, there we go. And now we have filled in some letters for these. Let's see if that helps us out at all. Let's do this 5 again because spiny fish. The T there, so I'm guessing maybe an S would be there. Oh gosh. I really don't know my fish. Let's fill in maybe some of these other ones and then we'll just come back to 4 at the end. So we just did 6, let's do 7. Pass around the edge, I believe that's the skirt. Let's do a 7 going down. Leaks slowly. I think that is seeps. Just seeps out too easy. Yes, okay. And let's do 8 going across. A quartet doubled would be an octet. Let's do 9 down. Starts with a T. Track down. Perhaps trace. Oops. Okay, yeah. Let's do 10 now. Spreading kitchen tool. Perhaps a spatula. Okay. Let's do 11 across now. Relating to sound waves. Sonic. Yes, okay. Let's do 12 down. Domestic bovine animals. I think that is oxen. I almost put oxes. And 13 across. Building where one abides. I think perhaps abode. Okay, let's do 14 down. Palm tree fruit. Perhaps a date. Let's do 15 down. Stern words. Oh, I don't know. Is this like in relation to the boat? I have no idea. I'm gonna just guess act. That is not it. Let's see 16 and see if we can fill in that letter. Official document. Maybe a certificate. Okay. Now let's do this 15 now that we have the F. Maybe aft. There we go. Okay. So now we have filled in quite a few letters for 4. So let's take a look at this one again and see if I can get anything. Small spiny fish. I'm gonna guess that the S has to go there. Let's guess maybe an A. Honestly, any of the vowels kind of make sense to me there. This is a really weird. Let's kind of rearrange some of these vowels. Stickleback. I have not heard of that type of fish. Alright, but we finished our crossword. So let's collect our coins. And let's continue on to cross them usually takes me a while, so we just did the crossword. Let's jump over to bridges. I like bridges. I feel like it's usually quick and easy. So let's start with the 3 and this 5. And bridges is basically exactly what it sounds like. You're trying to connect these number of bridges to these numbers, and you can do doubles like that, but I'm not sure if that's going to be what that is. But this 1, no, it can only go to that 2. It's 3. Let's do the 5 here. 3 options, so I can't place any of the bridges yet for that. It's 5, it can go like that. And now this 4 only has those 2 options, and this 5 only has these options. And then we've blocked this route for the 2, so the second bridge has to go up to the 4. And the second bridge, or the fourth bridge for the 4 has to go over this way to the 7. And then now we've blocked this path to the 2 for the 3, so we know it has to go down this way. The 2 can't connect anymore up there, so it has to go down this way. 4 goes there. And the 5, let's spread that out. 2 only has 1 number there. So this 4 already has 3, but these 2 are already used up, so we know the last one has to go down this way. And this 3, this number is used up, so the third one has to go up that way. And then this 5, we have 1 to this 2 that's used up, so we know the remaining ones have to go out this way. You can only have a max of 2. This 3 gets spread out like that. And this 2 only sees that 3, this 2 only sees this 4, which means this 2 has to connect to the 5, this 2 has to connect to that 2, this 3 can go up like that, and then that means this 4 has to spread out like that. And then this 5, these numbers are used up, so the remaining one has to go this way, has to go there, that way. And this is another one of those ones that kind of gets going. It's pretty quick. Like it all kind of just connects nicely. There we go. That is complete. And we earned 10 tokens on that one, I think, because I completed the novice achievement for bridges. So we received 10 tokens and a total of 125 coins. I have a lot of coins and tokens. Alright, now I think let's jump into cross sum. My husband is really good at the cross sums. I am not as good. So these usually do take me a little bit of time to kind of figure out. Okay, but I think right off the bat I have something I can place. So the only number here that can multiply by anything, I think, to get to 39 is 3 and 13. So I can't put a 13 here, so I believe that has to be a 3. I'm also not the best at math, so hang with me for a bit. If I mess something up, I will figure it out because it won't end up working. Okay, and then, so something is subtracted by 3 and then divided by something to get a 5. So I could divide something, like if this was an 8, that would be 8 minus 3 is a 5, divided by a 1 to get 5. And we can't divide anything by 5, so I think that this one has to be a 1. I feel like I'm messing that up somewhere, but in my mind, for some reason, it makes sense that that can only be a 1, and so that this has to be an 8. So now we're multiplying by 1 to get a 6, so we know that these numbers have to add up to 6, and I can't do a 5 and a 1, so these have to be 4 and 2. Okay, so nothing else, because we have a 2-4 pair. 2 and a 4 can't go in any of these cells. So I'm multiplying this one by 3 to get 13 over here, or to get 39, but I'm multiplying by 13. So the only options for 13 here would be a 9 and a 4, but I have the 2-4 pair, so the 4 can't go there. 8 and a 5, but I've already placed the 8. So it would be 7 and 6, which means the only options left for these cells are 9 and 5. Okay. So now let's take a look maybe at these ones here. So I need to add 3 things together to get 13. And I know that this can't be a 9 because I would need these to add up to just 4, and there's no combination. Like the numbers here are greater than 4, so I know this one has to be the 5. That makes this a 9. And then we can kind of go from here, I imagine. So because this is a 5, I know these have to add up to 8, and there's only one combination that adds up to 8. That means this is a 7, and that's the 4. There we go. That one actually didn't take me too long. I feel like usually they take me a lot longer. And we also received some tokens and additional coins for this one because I've moved into Adept across them. So let's collect our stuff. And let's go ahead and do our last puzzle here. So this is kind of another crossword. I don't know the difference between crossword and challenger. I don't know, is challenger like a New York Times thing too? I have no idea. Is it just harder crossword? Chairs, I think. Seats. Yeah, that definitely seems really hard. That's sarcasm. To delight in, I think that's enjoy. Let's do 3 down. End of bus route. I think terminal. Terminus. There we go. Okay. Not proceeding. I think after. Do 5 down. To show too much attention. Oops, I think fuss. Alright, let's do 6 down. Made certain of. I think ensure. Insured. And let's move over to 7 down. Filled with emotion. This one isn't jumping out to me right away, so I'm just going to move on to 8 down. We'll come back to 7 once we filled in some of the other letters. 8 down, notions, ideas. 11 across. Kind of skipped 9 and 10, I guess. Abandon, vacant. Disused. There we go. Let's do 9 down. Bits and bobs, and it's 3 words. I think that is odds and ends. Okay. Let's do 10 across this way. Most part. Maybe major. Okay. And then we already did the 11. Let's do 12 across. Non-conforming, different. Initially think like peculiar, but I feel like this Y is throwing me off. Would it be like an L-A-Y? I don't think I have that one quite yet either, so do 14 down. Inhabitant or home owner. Okay. Maybe resident. There we go. Let's do 15 across. Imitate amusingly. This is 2 words. I'm going to assume this last word is up. I have no idea. Is it like send up? Is that something? I don't know. Maybe I'm too young to know that phrase, but let's do 16 down. That is, it starts with an N and it's strongly desiring, maybe needing. Okay, let's do 17 across. Go crimson. Maybe redden. Okay. And 18 down. Social winding dance at the conga. There we go. And 19 across. Chamber for baking. I think that's oven. Let's do 20 across. Outgoing convivial. I feel like I haven't really heard that word, convivial. It's fun. I feel like my brain is kind of blanking on some of these. Let's move on to 21 and see if we can get that letter. Bump into or interrupt. Maybe like barge. Okay. So let's move to 22 down. Friendly Italian greeting. I think that is ciao. And 23, going this way. Amending text. I think that is editing. 24 across. Slipped up. I think that would be aired. 25 across. Gleaming brilliant. I think aglow. 26 across. Spread flowers. Or sorry, spread. Typically like flowers or litter. See, I think that would be an S. So maybe strew. Okay, so we filled in all of that. Let's go back, see if we can get 7. Filled with emotion. This one is getting me good. I'm not too sure. Let's see if we can get 12 now. Maybe if something else is coming up in my mind. Non-conforming or different. You know, I think I'm going to take a hint and get rid of the letters that don't belong in the word. Okay. And so now these are the letters that we know are in this word. I'm really getting stuck. Let's do the same thing for this one. Filled with emotion. These are the letters that didn't really help us very much because there are 11 letters for this one. I don't know. Let's do this one. Take the hint. Outgoing or convivial. Oh, sociable. Silly. Okay. Let's go back to this. I'm going to fill in the letter. I'm going to reveal the letter. Okay, so we filled in that. So that gives us the I. So maybe this would be a P, like in. Oh, is it impassioned? So now we have A for this one. Let's take a look. Oh, atypical. Oh, that was silly. And there we go. We now have our full page complete. And we collected 50 coins for this puzzle. Here we go. I enjoyed that page. I feel like that one was pretty fun, not too difficult. I think the only place I really got stumped was the Challenger crossword. I hope that you enjoyed this video and getting to see me complete some puzzles. I hope that you have a wonderful